What's up? What's up, my friends? Big Cheds coming to you live here. It is Saturday, January 5th, 2019. It's a new year. It's a new you. You know, let's keep moving forward, people. Let's have a good time. Let's enjoy what we do. Let's put in some good effort, and let's work together. That's why I'm here today. I try to do these shows for you when I have, when I feel like, when I'm in the mood, when I have time. But obviously I have to focus a lot of my time on Bitcoin Live, where I'm one of 6 full-time teachers and analysts. We also have several featured contributors. It's a project I'm really proud to be a part of. But I got to make time for you guys too. And of course, I appreciate you joining me today. If you want to go ahead and hit that thumbs up button, would help me later when I put the video up for search results. If you don't like the video, if you don't like what I'm doing, hit that thumbs down. Of course, you guys can find me on Twitter at Big Cheds. Of course, I'm on YouTube at Cheds Trading. I am nowhere near as active as my good friend, Big Chonis. Certainly not on YouTube, where you can find him at Chonis Trading. And he's, of course, is on Twitter at Big Chonis, where he's also a featured contributor at Bitcoin Live. He's been doing some really nice work for us over there. And if you're looking for, for some one-on-one discussions, he does a great job with that. You can, check that out. If you have any questions, please do reach out to him. So let's get the party started. I like doing these updates for you guys when I can, like I said. So what I'm going to do is give a brief overview of the major coins, then I'm going to jump right into your chat request, your chart requests, the altcoin chart requests. I know you guys know I don't have an agenda. I'm not trying to pump anything. I'm not trying to push anything. So, I'll just give you what I feel. I'll tell you what I think, and it's just easier that way. So a lot of people are talking about the inverted head and shoulders construction. I think that's a pretty safe thing to potentially be looking for. And what is that? What does that look like, that head and shoulders construction? So I'm going to pull up a chart for you guys right here. Here we go. So this is an inverted head and shoulders. This is what we're looking for. So are we putting in one? I think it's certainly a valid interpretation. And we would draw it with our left shoulder, our head. And we'd be, in theory, we're working on our right shoulder here. This is a 12-hour chart. A lot of people have pointed out that we had a falling wedge right here that we broke out of. To potentially, start to form this right shoulder. We have a clear neckline, which we're drawing from the first and the second peak here. We're going to watch that for confirmation. So that's Bitcoin. It's pretty straightforward. We do have something called a hidden bearish divergence, where we're seeing our higher highs in the oscillators here versus the lower highs in the price. A hidden divergence is a continuation divergence, which would suggest a bearish breakdown. But that's just one factor, of course. I'll pull that chart up for you guys. You can see what I'm talking about, a hidden bearish divergence, oscillator, new highs, price, new lows, lower highs, and the oscillator has the higher highs. So that's one factor. Honestly, the bearish divergence won't matter if it can break this neckline. If it does break the neckline, if we go back to June, see right about here, you guys can just quickly eyeball. We had another head and shoulders here, and we did have our neckline. The neckline broke. You see that line I'm drawing across very crudely. We broke our neckline here, and we came back and we failed the back test. So if you take any resistance, right? So say this is a resistance line. You come up through, for the strongest runs, you want to come back and then hold support on the resistance and then bounce again. So hopefully that's not too confusing for everyone. But the point I'm trying to make is what we're going to do is we're going to watch using the candle close basis. I'm a candle close trader, Japanese candlestick trader. I'm going to use the candle closes of these two peaks. We have our tweezers top here, which is the most recent peak, second peak. That's my neckline. I want to see a break above for the bulls to change the narrative. I want to see a break above. I'll pull back to test and then a bounce. All right. Now, if it doesn't break, if we kind of flail here, we're going to be watching for support. In my view, we probably would retest our lows around that 3,100 level. Before we got there, clearly we have the lower shadows here. Bulls rejected lower prices on this long-legged doji. back in November. So that's how I would play Bitcoin. We'll go to Litecoin, of course. Litecoin right now is potentially trying to break out. It's trying to close above this neckline. We have the tweezer top here back from the 24th of December. That was the second peak. Here's our first peak. Look at all these little tweezers. So basically, Litecoin looks a little stronger right now, but it still has to break above and close above this neckline. If it can do it, you still have some room to run in the RSI. So that is a good sign for bulls. And then you'd want to see potentially this 200 period moving average may get tested as well. You want to maybe look to that level for taking profit if you're in the trade, if it does break out, and then watch the back test. So it's interesting with Ethereum is not so much of a head and shoulders. It's really just a rounded bottom, you know, kind of an eve bottom. Now it could even put in kind of a cup and handle. Now normally a cup and handle is a continuation pattern, which many of you probably know, but it's also can be a reversal pattern, just like, for example, an ascending triangle, right? That's normally a bullish continuation pattern, but can also be a reversal pattern. So it's, you know, just a rounded bottom. Let's not get too complicated. It's a rounded bottom. There's obviously quite a bit of resistance here. Just we have these initially where the price found support on its descent. It found support here, you know, that 160 to that 180 level. So, and then we had this long period, several days of consolidation back in November. So given where, point I'm trying to make is given where the prices come from, kind of makes sense for it to consolidate here. I think people who are buying here are brave in the short term. I think you're brave because bearish divergence RSI, lower highs. We're at logical resistance, top channel stochastics RSI. You know, the on-balance volume's okay, but I just think, you know, if I'm trying to go long here, I want to see a pullback to support. You know, I want to see a pullback to support hold 110, 120. You know, somewhere in this range. I wouldn't be buying at the critical test level because that's where people are taking profit. That's 100% move from the bottom already. So keep that in mind, guys. BCH SV Satoshi's Vision will go 6 hour for a little more of a view. I got a lot of squiggly lines, but you can just see essentially we have a tight channel of resistance and support to watch here. Just going to remove some of these. I was making a point most likely on a different time frame. And pointing out the volume here at that peak, that profit taking. So we're in a tight channel here. Look, we have a little bit of support we're holding as long as the support can hold. And the on-balance volume is strong. As long as support can hold, I don't see why it can't retest these highs anytime in the next days and weeks. So that's actually pretty bullish still. BCH ABC at 160. You know, also looks decent. We had this a lot of loading here. We had the pullback. And normally in the pullback, you'd want it to hold with this candle low. It breached that. And it looks like it kind of might have been a false bear break, kind of a spring, potentially like a bear trap. Of course, we'll have to see how that plays out. But since then, we do have our higher lows. We have our lower highs. We have an equilibrium pattern, a tightening range. You can see that also with the Bollinger Bands. So I think this actually is also still bullish, given the strength of the volume and the loading here. And our higher lows now, potentially a trend change, you know, lower lows, now higher lows. So we're going to watch this tightening range. And I'll just do XRP because someone's going to ask for it anyway. XRP, I had in mind here, potentially pretty clear. Obviously, it's been bullish, but we have a double top. Okay, first and second top, and potentially in the second top, we have a head and shoulders. So you're going to want to watch support. Interestingly enough, though, you can see how the 200 period moving average has acted as support several times along the way. So, you know, if the price can hold here, what is here, if the price can hold around 9K, maybe even as low, you know, certainly the low of this hammer. If the price can hold above, what is this low? Yeah, 91.45 while the RSI can reset. I think that would be good for the bulls. But I would really, if I'm a bull, I would definitely want to see the 200 MA hold given how it's reacted thus far. Let's jump back to the top. I'm going to jump right into the chart requests. We'll go to my master watch list and let's take a look here. So what do we have next? Who's next? Okay, B Trail, you're looking for Raven. I'll give you one for each person, guys. because I'm feeling good now, but if once I run out of steam, you know, I like to wrap it up. So what's going on here with Raven Coin? We're on the 6 hour. Let's go back to 12-hour chart. All right, so we're trying to find support. We have a series of lower lows. Overall, it looks pretty weak. But that being said, if you note, the price initially found this. This was a resistance area. There is some significance right in this area. Quite a bit of price history. So, I mean, if the price can hold, what is this low? 333. I mean, if this can stay above 333, I think you can see some type of a short-term rally, certainly for maybe a 20% move. So that looks okay if it can hold the support here. Jamal, I already did those. I did LTC. Orion, let's take a look at Neo for Orion. Neo USD. I'm going to do Neo BTC. A lot of these coins, altcoins, I don't understand doing the USD chart because the chart is, the USD chart's going to depend on what Bitcoin does. So you want me to do the Bitcoin chart or do you want me to do the altcoin chart? And it kind of, I don't know if it drives me crazy or what, but, you know, like why would you want to see Neo USD? Don't you want to see Neo BTC? Because it's just, you know, I want to have one control and one variable rather than, you know, two variables. Anyway, let's, all that being said, so Neo, you know, potentially this is mirroring the major coins where we are setting up for potential three rivers or an inverted head and shoulders, inverted three Buddha, if you will. You know, I'm just kind of looking for some type of a price history in this area on Binance. So here we are. We're below a very important level. So, okay. I mean, here's the problem for bulls right now is you do have a nice head and shoulders potential, but this is some pretty serious resistance. If you can break through that resistance, though, you know, now you're cooking. I just think the bears still have a pretty good argument here. So you have to keep an eye on that. Play it like an inverted head and shoulders. Draw your neckline and play it accordingly. Let's continue on. Let's take a look at TRX for Dwayne. I put out an alert for TRX on Bitcoin Live. It's a nice 10% gain. We see a series from the bottom here. Here's the 12-hour chart. You know, from the bottom, we can see a series of bullish continuation patterns. We see bull flag. We see a falling wedge, kind of a pennant or a falling wedge there. And then we see another pennant, even a symmetrical triangle, a flag. I mean, it's just a bull. You see a series of 1, 2, 3, at least 4, you know, bullish continuation patterns. What's happening right now is we're potentially forming the top of this channel. So as you can see in all of these patterns, when the price reached the top of its channel, there was a pullback. So you have the, you know, the swing high and the swing low is the common terminology. So, you know, there's no shame in taking profit because if you look at like here, 450 of 410, that's a 10% pullback. If you look at the swing high, you know, roughly that's 550, you know, to 480. I mean, Elliott wave traders have a different way of doing this. A, B, C, D, E, you know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever it is, you know, W, X, Y, Z. But the point I'm trying to make is that we are potentially now forming the top of whatever pattern this is. Is it a bullish continuation pattern? Maybe, probably. You have to assume it is until proven otherwise because bulls are in control of the trend. Right? You have to kind of assume until proven otherwise that the current trend will continue. You know, some people will point out the bearish divergence in the RSIs, vigor index. Okay, that's fine. You know, you may point to the fact that on this peak, not as much volume. Yeah, so I'd want to see more sell volume to think that this is a top. I would just assume this continues. Until I'm proven otherwise, but it does need to consolidate. And I think, excuse me, it would be pretty likely to pull back even as far as, you know, 550, 560. So I hope that helps out for Dwayne. Let's continue on. DNT for Dan the Man. Let's check out DNT. Happy to do it. DNT. So what do we see? I mean, we see the price is trying to establish a low. It's trying to establish support. I like the on-balance volume, that it's strong. This is an area where several times now the bulls have rejected lower prices. That's the terminology. Or you could say it's found an area of demand. Excuse me, demand. There's the D for demand, right? So it's very clearly, right? This is an area where people are saying, I'm willing to buy it. As long as that holds, excuse me, as long as that holds, you have the potential for a trend change. Obviously, the bulls have an issue of lower highs. You can see the lower highs in the chart, right? Eventually, that's going to have to change. So if you can hold support and you could potentially break out and break over that lower high, now we're talking trend change. So I think this one looks okay. This is certainly worth keeping an eye on as long as it can hold this level of support. Hassan, let's take a look at EOS right at 7,000 Satoshi. Yeah. So, I mean, it's trying to bounce here. We really have a lot of nice loading here, off the bottom. 48, it's almost, it's like an 80% move. So we have our clearly defined highs here. Sorry, I'm stumbling a little bit. And we clearly have our support here as well. So I think we should watch the channel to see what happens. We have a volume trend as well. We can kind of watch this volume trend. We can watch these oscillators for other clues. We have a strength in the on-balance volume. But this is a pretty important level. You can just kind of look back and see how many times, and what is that level? See how many times that 7,500 area, was support. Support broke through, now it's resistance. So you have a very serious resistance level to contend with. But if you can break up above that and hold it, then you have potential for a more long-term trend change. Let's jump back to Bitcoin. I just want to wrap back up on Bitcoin. So as we talked about, we have the potential for a head and shoulders. We're just going to watch our neckline. For a more durable recovery, you're going to want to see a neckline break, retest, and continuation, because the last time we had our head and shoulders, as I pointed out back in June, we failed on the back test of the neckline, right? And so that kind of suggested to people, all right, the bears are still in control. The trend has not reversed. So that's what we're going to want to keep an eye on. Other than that, I really appreciate you guys coming in for the show. I try to do these, whenever I get a chance. You can find me, of course, on Twitter at Big Cheds. I'm on YouTube at Cheds Trading. My good friend Big Chonas, you can find him on Twitter at Big Chonas and YouTube at Chonas Trading. I am proud to be a teacher and analyst at Bitcoin Live, the best-in-class educational platform for crypto. I personally put in frequent video updates, kind of like this show, but more concise. I like to give updates on where I think the market is, so people kind of have some confidence about what's going on. I put in when I scan my watch list, and I put out alerts when I find some nice setups, so timely alerts. I have a segment called "Let Me Teach You How to Fish," where I record myself scanning every play on my watch list and talking about those plays. And I have some educational material there that I write, articles in trading psychology, just really in-depth stuff to help you kind of get that edge. You can check out my webinar about why I'm involved in this project. On YouTube, you can see the webinars for the other analysts as well. We also have some featured contributors, including Big Chonas. Recently, we've added a monthly and a quarterly option for you to try out Bitcoin Live before committing for a full year, which is the best value. So with that, I really appreciate you guys joining me for the show. I'll see you on Twitter. If you guys have any questions, definitely, reach out to me on Twitter. And I hope everyone enjoys your weekend. I hope you had a great holiday. Big Cheds out.